bacon every night. That's a good idea. Just so
Welcome home, Sherlock. How did the case go?
Just fine, my dear Watson.
I bet it did.
I found some vital information applicable to our ongoing cases.
You know, Sherlock, other than still using long words, you sure have changed since the first time I met you.
What brought this on, my dear friend?
We had a guest earlier this evening who wanted to know how to change. I told him the story of when you were in Casablanca.
That old story? Well, I hope I've never gone back on my old way of life since then.
Yeah, you used to never cook me bacon before that.
I guess that's true.
Man, you had a terrible haircut. That was really bad. It was super. Okay. And who should knock at the door at that moment but our friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, Scotland Yard Inspector, Inspector Lestrade.
Come in, the door's open.
Right as always.
Good evening, Inspector.
Good evening, Inspector.
Why, yes. I am Inspector Lestrade. At your service.
So what brings you here this fine evening, Inspector?
Well, partly for the good company, partially for the smell of leftover bacon.
Hands off, Bob.
But mainly because the script says I should be here every evening this week. Right before Mr. Bim arrives.
Well, what do you know? That's him now.
Come in, Mr. M.
Why do I pencil him in the script every time
And how, sir, did you know it was I?
You're the only one that sounds like you're about to pound the door down.
Dr. Watson, are you always so rude to guests in your home?
No, only to rude guests in my home.
Watson, that's enough.
He started it. Come on, it's being me, Holmes.
I understand, but that doesn't excuse our call to love others.
Yes, yes. If you two are finished with the lovey-dovey sickening stuff, might I impose upon you, Mr. Holmes, for a drink?
Why, certainly, sir. Would Coke be acceptable?
I was thinking something more along the lines of whiskey.
I apologize, sir. We have no alcohol in the apartment.
How inhospitable and rude to not have drinks for your guests.
Again, I apologize, sir, and offer you Coke or water.
I guess Coke will have to do. On the rocks. I assume you have ice, sir.
Yes, Mr. M. I'll get it for you.
And I'll have a tall glass of bacon grease. Thank you very much.
Here you go, sir.
Now, down to business. Inspector Lestrade.
You're welcome.
Inspector, I suppose you finally discovered that the body of that man was stolen by the disciples, and that the myths of his resurrection are complete fairy tales.
Mr. M. Why, no. Exactly to the contrary. I interviewed the mother of one of Jesus' disciples, a Mrs. of Tarsus. She told me the story of how their son Saul was much like you. He hated the new religious group of Christians, and then one day, on the way to arrest some of those Christians, he personally had a close encounter with Mr. Jesus. And in that very moment, his life was changed forever. He even went so far as to change his name to Paul.
Poppycock. Rubbish. I could change my name to Meta World Peace, but that wouldn't make me act any different.
I get it.
I understand, sir. But this Mr. Paul of Tarsus went on to be the greatest evangelist for Mr. Jesus of anybody in the world, up to Billy Graham.
Wait. Hey, Inspector, it's 1894. I don't think Billy Graham will be born for 24 years.
Thank you, Doctor.
You're welcome.
But I don't think it matters to Mr. M either.
You are quite correct in at least one thing, Inspector. But in your normal imbecilic fashion, you still fail miserably to find the answers I am looking for.
Mr. M, I remind you yet once again, the only sure obstacle to truth is to think you already have it. It may be so that the answer you are looking for does not exist. It may be that the truth of the matter is contrary to your purposes.
So aren't you all high and mighty in a bag of chips?
I would love some chips.
Sir, if I wanted your opinion, I would have asked for it.
But sir, you came into my abode looking for solutions to your quandary.
No, Mr. Holmes, I came to your apartment because I was told you were the world's greatest consulting detective. I assumed you could consult with this inspector to get me the evidence that I requested. Inspector, my time is running short. You have only one more day to find the evidence that I need, or else.
Or else what?
Or else? What's supposed to follow or else? Fill in the blank here. Good evening, gentlemen, and Dr. Watson.
The term is gentle dog. Or super dog.
You know, Mr. Holmes, I would just love to punch him in the face just once.
I know what you mean, Inspector.
Just one. I would love to punch him several times and then pee on the wheels of his carriage. That's a great idea.
Well, gentlemen, one thing I found in this life, when dealing with people, it gets messy.
I'm seeing that too, Mr. Holmes. I keep seeing that God deals with messy people, and although no one becomes perfect on earth, God starts that process here, if we allow him.
You are correct, Inspector.